Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where you can come on in and get caught up on some of the latest news involving our Cleveland Browns and get a 10-minute take along the way. Now, you may have noticed we are not in the friendly confines of the Browns Latest studio. Studio not available for the next few days, so we're improvising, and you get to look at doors. We'll call them shadors. See what I did there? Anyway, if you can, please like this episode, like all of the episodes. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and always get your comments in the viewer comment section. Coming up on today's show, to get an idea of what the offense is going to look like in the near future, take a look at Kevin Stefanski's offenses from the past. Also, someone dug up an eye-opening stat about rookie quarterbacks, but I'm here to calm your fears. Also, Shedeur Sanders talking about the one Browns player that puts him in awe each time they're in the room together. And also, down in the viewer comments, a not-so-nice nickname for our own Kenny Pickett. But first things first, let's talk about the offense, folks. So, one thing you got to understand, no matter who quarterbacks, whoever wins this quarterback battle, now that we're up against OTAs and heading towards training camp, you really have to remember that this team is going to run the ball a lot more than they did last year. And if all you do is take a look at when Kevin Stefanski showed up here in Cleveland in 2020, the Browns ran the ball 495 times. In 2021, they ran the ball 485 times. Now remember, that was with Baker Mayfield. But then the Watson debacle showed up, and we thought we were going to spread it out and sling it all over the yard and do all this crazy stuff with the passing game starting in 2022, and it never failed. Yeah, I mean, it never worked out. You can see there we tried we ran the ball 532 times, 518 times, but then because now remember, Watson was hurt, so he's dealing with especially 2023. That's more indicative of what you're going to see, a lot closer to that 485, 495 number because Watson wasn't there. So he's juggling all these quarterbacks and he got a little bit closer to his offense. But last year, this is why I bring this up. Last year, we only ran the ball 391 times for a lot of reasons. Between Nick Chubb being hurt, and we didn't, he was just trying anything to get anything going, and he used, had Watson, out again. And so with Jameis Winston, they're throwing it all over the yard. It was just a complete mess. And so my point of bringing all this up is the Kevin Stefanski offense is going to be built on running the ball and high percentage passes. You're going to see a lot of two tight ends. You are going to see, like I mentioned before, this is going to be let the defense play and let's control the ground game. And if we have to win 6-3, we will take it. So forget about everything you saw last year. We are going in a completely different direction this year. Now, an eye-opening stat. Now, the graphic says fifth-round pick, but I should say late-round picks in the graphics. It should read that. And so, one reporter found that since the year 2000, 118 quarterbacks were drafted in the 5th, 6th, or 7th round, but only 5 ended up starting 4 or more years in the NFL. That's a success rate of only 4%. Why do I bring this up? Because you're like, well, Dave, what do you mean? That means, no late round quarterbacks are ever successful. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is over the years, each team is so different. And remember, Brady, Purdy, you got guys taken in these late rounds that have had a lot of success. And so what I'm saying is this. And coming off of what we just talked about, the way this offense is going to be built, it's going to ask a lot less of the quarterback because of how much I expect us to run the ball, right? So, which gives the quarterback, if you're more managing the game, you're going to have a better chance at success. It's like the, less cars on the road, less accidents kind of thing, less passes thrown, less chances for interceptions. You look at Flacco, that's always been a knock on him. He throws too many interceptions. So these are the kind of things, not just for our rookie quarterbacks, but also, for all the quarterbacks that we have. And listen to this, folks. If you don't, I know everybody wants to believe this is a passing league, but last year, do you know who had the fewest passes in the league? 448 times they threw the ball. You know who it was? your Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles. Of course, they had Barkley. I get it, and they got the greatest offensive line. I mean, that offensive line is ridiculous. But the bottom line is this. You can still win a Super Bowl going old school, running the ball and relying on your defense. But listen, not only Philly, but listen to this. The four teams behind them, the three teams behind them, Baltimore, Green Bay, and Pittsburgh, all playoff teams. Those are the teams that threw the ball the fewest. The teams that threw the ball the fewest all made the playoffs or won the Super Bowl. Maybe this is why the Browns voted against the tush push. They were. Now my thought on that is figure out a way to stop it. They should not be banning the tush push. But the Browns were only one of 10 teams that voted against it, and I think because they are really going to rely on the run. Okay. Shedeur Sanders, somebody asked him, how's everything in the quarterback room? He says, oh, the quarterbacks are cool, man. He said, no problem here. In fact, here's what he said. He said, outside the room, people keep trying to pit us against each other. But inside the room, we know we're one. We're all different characters. It's funny going there and seeing Joe Flacco every day. It's fun to see him because I'm like, wow, I'm really with Joe Flacco right now. We're on the same team. Then, of course, with Kenny Pickett, the experience he has being in the league for these years is cool just to process all of it. And this came out of an interview with FanDuel TV's Kay Adams at the NFL Player Association Rookie Premiere. Remember, we told you all the rookies were heading out there. And that's where this came from. So everybody keeps trying to make something out of this. And the bottom line is it's the quarterback decision will be made on the field. And so it doesn't matter who's listed as first team, who's listed as second team, who's got this many reps this day, who has this many reps this day. Because the other thing is this, folks, we're not going to see a lot of this play out. The media will get to see some of the practices, but not all of them. So a lot of those decisions may come from practices that we don't even see. But everybody just let this play out. Everybody keep trying to make something out of nothing here, but Shedeur calming everybody's fears. Now, never any fear when it comes to the viewer comments, and they never take a day off. And we'll start today with Richard Fish, 8379, who simply says, I like Dylan. There you go. Simple. Simple, to the point. Appreciate it, Richard Fish. Trust Not 26 says, give Shedeur what he needs and watch him cook. Most accurate quarterback in college football. And like I said, if we're going to run the ball like I expect us to run the ball, there'll be a lot less pressure off of him, and the whole talk of taking sacks and holding on to the ball to him. All that's going to go away relatively quickly for any of our quarterbacks. The interception risks, the holding on to the ball, the sacks, all of it, if that running game really gets going. Just a Girl 007 says, whether he wants to or not, Joe Flacco is going to be a mentor just by being in the room. I agree. I've learned a lot from people over the years in my career, from people who were unofficial mentors. And now I'm at a stage in my career where I am someone else's official mentor. That's just how life works when you're the older person in the room, especially the one with experience. And yeah, we talked about this, folks, earlier this week. Joe Flacco just being in the room, the guys around him are going to learn from him, whether he formally mentors them or not. They are going, how can you not learn from a Super Bowl quarterback? So he won a Super Bowl. He's been there. He's done it all. And so they will learn from him. Now, that unflattering nickname for Kenny Pickett. This is just a girl. She also threw this in. She said, there's a reason Kenny Pickett is on his third team in 3 years. The nickname, Kenny Pick 6. And so I said, yeah. She's right about Flacco. Kenny, guys, and we're going to talk about this right before we get there, before OTA start. You better start leaning into this Kenny Pickett thing a little bit, at least to start. I'm just telling you, it's a thing, and we'll talk about it more in depth before we get to OTAs. John Gerard, 7226, says, this team has 5 quarterbacks, and not one is worthy of being a starter in the pros. This is a 4-win team, and they'll draft their guy at quarterback next year. Now, first of all, John Gerard, there's only 4 quarterbacks, because Deshaun Watson will never play for the Browns again. And if he does, Browns fans will go down there and tear the stadium apart. I'm just letting you know that. Watson will never play for the Browns again. They're just minding their P's and Q's so they can get their money back in that insurance claim. That's my opinion. But The bottom line is it's a win-win. I don't see it. We're not losing. This isn't a 4-win team. I already bet the over. This team is going to win anywhere from 6 to 8 games. But like I said, if they can get everything together and get that running game going and the defense and everybody stays healthy, the playoffs are not a wild card spot, not out of the question. This isn't the Browns fan in me talking, folks. Stranger things have happened. We'll end on Todd Parsley's 51-64. Hey, Dave, the buzz around Cleveland this year reminds me of the buzz that happened in the 80s and the 90s. It's created some great conversation, and then the Browns backed it up on the field at that time. Go Browns. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, folks. Like, there's a buzz in the air, whether it's from Shador or elsewhere. We do have a quarterback room that's the best we've seen in years. 4 very competent quarterbacks, and they fit the offense that we're trying to run. It's no square peg round hole anymore. It's everything seems to be lining up with this offense, and so it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out. All right, you'll get a couple more days of the Shadors until we get the studio back, but thank you for bearing with it. And thank you for joining us today. That's going to do it. Go Browns. We'll see you next time.